Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays collection. Today I want to spotlight a director who is legendary from the beginning days of Hollywood. He might be a director that you really may not sound familiar, may not ring a bell with you, but he's definitely made the movies that we've loved for over 100 years. The director I want to spotlight is Allan Dwan. I started thinking about him the other day when I saw a movie that I'm going to show you here in a minute called Silver Load. And it had me thinking because I knew he was an older director, and it made me look back at some of his videos or some of his movies and watch them and check out how many really cool movies he's actually made over the time. But he had a pretty long career. So I'm going to show like a mixed, kind of a good little mixture of stuff that he's worked on over his tenure as a director. And let's start with that one movie that had me thinking the other day. And this is a Western from 1953. It was done for RKO Studios, and I recently covered it in a Western Roundup video that I did. A movie that I'm really excited about. I really dug this movie when I saw it. The movie, this is a German release of the movie, but the movie I'm talking about is called Silver Load, and was really took off guard when I watched this. I thought maybe it would just be a typical 50s Western. It turned out to be a little bit more than that. It was very exciting, very well made. It's got some great stunt work in it. It's got some great acting. It's got a great cast, great direction. So let's talk about Silver Load a little bit. It stars John Payne, Dan Duryea, Lisbeth Scott, Stuart Whitman, amongst others. John Payne, another reason I checked this out was John Payne. I started watching some of his film noirs and stuff and started running across some of his movies, and they kind of overlapped each other, Allan Dwan and his, so it was a no-brainer to check out Silver Load. And I found this really cool German DVD release. It's in German. It's also got the English audio on the second channel. It's got some bonus stuff. Unfortunately, some of it's in German, but the extras on here, it's a really good documentary which is in English. Thank God, because I've gotten some German releases before where it's a German person that's being interviewed and it's in German. They don't have subtitles, which suck. But this time, this was a good release. It's got a really nice booklet that came with it. Lots of photos, big write-up on it, but it's all in German. But what can I say? This is really cool. This is a slipcase DVD. And Silver Load turned out to be a really good movie. It's basically about a guy who was once an outlaw who kind of broke away from his old gang. I think they went to prison or something, and he kind of got away with the money. And he stashed it and cleaned up his life. He got married. He became a respectable citizen of this town in Silver Load. And one day they come back, some of his old buddies come back posing as U.S. Marshals to bring him back to such and such town. And he's trying to convince the town that, he's no marshal, he's no this, he's no, So it's basically a race against the clock to prove his innocence, and it's got some great performances by some supporting actors, and it's really good. So I have to really recommend, again, Silver Load. It's really good. Directed by Allan Dwan. He's a great director of action and stunt work. He's got the eye for the story and the action. So he's a very good director. Even after being a director at this point for almost 40 years at that point, maybe 35, 40 years. So he was a veteran director at this point when he made this. So there you go, Silver Load. Next up, I'm going to show a movie. He helped make this guy a legend. Some of the films he made with this actor are Hollywood legend, are just some of the greatest stunt movies ever made, action-packed, swashbuckler movie. The actor he worked with was Douglas Fairbanks Sr., and he would make movies like Robin Hood and The Mark of Zorro and a bunch of stuff like that. I think the Black Pirate or something like that. He did a bunch of like action type movies like that. And this is a movie from 1929. This is a semi-talkie. This is a movie called The Iron Mask. This is a great early Kino video release. This came out in 1999, I think. And they made this movie, Allan, Dwan, and Douglas Fairbanks. They made this movie in 1929. This was going to be Douglas Fairbanks' farewell movie. He was going to retire from the screen. He was getting up there in age, and he knew talkies weren't his. Was going to be, he wasn't going to do talkies or whatever. So he wanted to go out, big time. This is basically a telling. It's kind of a cross between the Four Musketeers, and the Man in the Iron Mask story, but really good. Well, first of all, this is a great video release because it's got rare outtakes. It's got some bonus stuff on here. It's got quite a bit of stuff for an older Kino release, and the rare outtake footage is really cool. It shows him doing 3 or 4 outtakes of him doing these scenes where he's like jumping into a window and jumping and just showing how they did the stunts back then were amazing. And Douglas Fairbanks always did his own, stunt work for the most part. And but this release is really good. It was filmed silent, and it was also filmed with a audio sound effects disc, where it would have cheering and music and stuff on the soundtrack, but the people weren't talking. They couldn't pick that up. So I think what survives is this version. It's basically a silent movie, but it's got all this extra stuff on it. And Allan Dwan, directed this. He had previously made a bunch of movies with Douglas Fairbanks and stuff, but the movie's really good. It really holds up after all these years, and it's still a really cool feat to see the action, the stunt work, how it was filmed and everything. It was really amazing video, and I'm glad I came across this because I probably normally wouldn't have looked for this certain movie, but really glad. I'm going to probably check out more Douglas Fairbanks movies in the future. So I highly recommend The Iron Mask, and you can get that pretty economically. Next up, this was another rare type of discovery of a movie I'd never heard of. This is actually a Western that was made in 1929 also. This is Allan Dwan directed this movie. I think this was for MGM. This is a movie called Tide of Empire. Really rare, never heard of it. This is part of the Warner Archive collection. But it basically takes place in old California, as it's known, back when Mexico reached up into the Californias up in the mountains, and the great villages and all this stuff. And it's really nice. It's got a lot of good decoration, decor. It really looks like that time. It looks really good. A lot was put into it, but yeah, it's kind of a short movie. It's only like 72 minutes, so it's pretty fast. It's kind of a tale of love, Romeo and Juliet type of story between two families and stuff like that, but kind of an interesting curio for me, and everything. But it really goes by really fast. It's an example of an older Western, you know. So it looks really cool. You may or may not check it out, but I highly recommend it. It's called Tide of Empire. And finally, guys, one more last movie by Allan Dwan. This was made in the late 1950s at 20th Century Fox. This is a movie called The River's Edge. Now, I've heard about this movie for years, but I just never really, looked at it and checked it out. It's got a great cast: Ray Milland, Anthony Quinn, Dora Paget, and it's kind of a story of this guy who has come back into Anthony Quinn and Deborah Paget. What did I say? Dora. Deborah Paget's life. She has a shady past where she went to jail for this guy, and she started over with Anthony Quinn, he's a kind of a down on his luck rancher who's having some bad luck getting his ranch going and stuff. And he one day appears back in their life, actually in like a 1957 T-Bird. He shows up. It's really a great looking film. And you don't know what this guy's up to. He's shady as hell. And basically he wants to be escorted out of the country to Mexico. And basically it gets to a point where she falls back in love with her ex-husband. And he basically says, if you want her, you can have her. And he's being paid like $10,000 to do this. And some of it was just kind of fluffy, melodramatic stuff, but it's a movie. It's got a little bit of everything going on. It's got a little Western flavor. It's got some melodrama going on with it, some action going on with it. Pretty cool movie. There's one scene that I was not expecting. There's a scene where he backs up and runs over a cop and then goes forward and runs over him again or something, and it's in glorious Technicolor. And I didn't think they would show the cop, but after he pulls away, it's a good shot of him laying there just bloody, all from head to toe, blood everywhere, just big as you can see. Like, I did not expect that in a 1957 movie, but it's some really raw scenes in here like that. That was a really pretty cool scene. It was I didn't expect that, but really cool. This is a different movie. It's called The River's Edge. I used to always think about this because of the movie from 1987 called River's Edge with John Wick guy, Keanu in it. But this is called The River's Edge. It's from 1957. So I highly recommend this. You can get this really cheap. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool just for that one scene. But this was directed by Allan Dwan in his later years, because this is 1957 now. So he's been directing since in the teens and stuff. So pretty cool director. I'd like to just point out some of his movies, and that's what this video is about. Just to point out some of his videos, some of his movies, some of the actors he's worked with and stuff. But he's the more time goes on and the older we all get, the more we forget about stuff. And I hope he's not forgotten to time, because he was one of the innovators and one of the best maverick type directors. He's kind of a older Howard Hawks or an older Nicholas Ray or someone like that made movies that were great directors and stuff. So hope you guys like this episode. Check those movies out, especially The Iron Mask. Check that one out. And Silver Load, check those out. I think you'll like them. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, subscribe today. Hit the bell so you're notified when I release another video. Comment, let me know what you think. Do you know anything about Allan Dwan? Let me know what your favorite movie is. Just give me a like if you liked it. And that's about it. Just be safe, guys. Watch good movies. Discover an old actor today. Discover an old director today. But seriously, guys, just go check out somebody, and it's really pretty cool. I mean, I didn't think about this. It was just a spur of the moment thing, and it kind of took me on a little trip finding these movies and watching them and stuff. It was a lot of fun. So until next time, guys, I'm Mike. Thanks for watching Mike's DVDs and Blu-rays collection, and I will see you all later.